Welcome to the We Are Wake Tech podcast with your host, Wake Tech President, Dr. Scott Rawls.
Hi, I'm Scott Rawls, host of the We Are Wake Tech podcast. It's August, which is back to school month. Summer's over, but we're excited here at Wake Tech for a 2022-2023 academic year that starts right now at Wake Tech. And what a great guest we have to join us as we start the new year is Brian Gann, our Vice President for Enrollment and Student Services, the man who coordinates all the action in terms of interaction with students, enrollment, and making sure they have all their needs met as they start here and then finish in a few years crossing that graduation stage. Brian, welcome. It is great to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You know, we always like to start this podcast by learning a little bit about you. And we'll talk about it in a second, but you had a unique start here because you almost started the day COVID started. We'll talk about that later.
I did. We won't tell everybody that you've accused me of bringing COVID to North Carolina with me.
You know, I realized it wasn't you later. It was a bigger thing than just you, so it took me a little while to figure that out. But, yeah, I did say, you know, Brian, anyway. But we're so excited you came, and you have a great story, too. I'd love you to tell your story about getting to Wake Tech, but also how you started, because one of the things that happens here at Wake Tech is we're very proud of all of our students, how we serve all our students, but particularly we serve a lot of first-generation students. And when we say that, people may wonder what that means. They're the first in their family to go to college. Yeah. And that was you too. Yes, and sir. You often tell that story in a way that's so meaningful to our students. So could you share that with our listeners?
Yeah, glad to. So as you say, I am a first-generation college student. I'm a proud community college alumnus of Bevel State Community College in Fayette, Alabama, a very small town in western Alabama. And that I could not have known at the time that would be one of the most important decisions I would ever make. But that college put its arms around me. I had faculty that knew who I was and who cared about me and who helped me be successful in the classroom. I was very active on campus. I had a job on campus. I had participation in clubs. I was a student ambassador, and so I had staff members that were connected with me, and all of that support, I didn't know what it meant at the time, but I knew how it made me feel. Mm-hmm. And that is very important to me, and I have really tried for the rest of my career to give that back to our next group of students every time they come through our doors, is to give that level of connection that I felt from my own community college experience. And very proud to be at Wake Tech. I started Valentine's Day 2020, so I had about 3 good weeks of normalcy and trying to find where everything is and meet everybody. And then I will never forget running into you in a hallway one Friday afternoon, you saying, hey, I think this COVID thing may be something. We maybe better start planning for it. And you were very prescient in that analysis.
Well, we're excited you're here, and you must be excited too, like I am, because this is, knock on wood, the most normal fall we've had in a few years.
Yes, sir. It's good to see a lot more students on campus than we've seen since I've been here. And I know, like you, I have been doing a lot of welcomes and greetings for SGA and student ambassadors and lots of different student groups as they're having their orientations getting on campus. So it's an exciting time. We're just a few days from the start of fall.
It's a great time of year.
Yes, sir.
Going back to you just a little bit, though, I want to, you know, one of the things that we haven't really talked as deliberately about this, but I've always sensed this about you, as I do with so many people at Wake Tech. It's about the mission. I have a feeling with you that the impact of community college, which you probably wouldn't have known going into community college, but kind of stayed with you throughout, which kind of affected your journey eventually to us here at Wake Tech.
Absolutely. I still have contact today with people from when I was a community college student. Some of those people are still mentors and people that I rely on, and that impact, you're exactly right. I never knew going into saying, okay, I'm going to go to my local community college, how very positive an experience that would be. And so I never forget that when I'm talking with our student body. They may not understand the opportunity that's here, but when you come out the other side of that graduation stage and you leave with little to no debt, with ready for your junior year, if you're going to a university, ready to go to a job, if you're going to go to the workforce, the opportunities are tremendous.
Yeah, well, I know you appreciate it, and you certainly, your leadership shows that. And I want to thank you for your leadership, and your team has been remarkable. The whole enrollment student services. I remember, seems like when you came and meeting you and your wife, I think it was a student event. I think it was Black History Month. We had it
Yes.
at the Raleigh Museum.
That's right.
And then that was in early February, and then all of a sudden life changed.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
but one thing that did change for us a little bit is, as difficult as that was for a college our size, so big and going fully online, it also changed us for the good in some ways, because there are things that we learned, things that we did. Certainly the responsiveness of your team was unbelievable, but it's influenced us in ways that I don't think will ever change for us. And can you maybe talk
Sure.
a bit about that?
Yeah, I agree with you that that period has put tools in our toolbox in that we'll never put away. And we were, before the pandemic, Wake Tech was about 25% of our degree-seeking students were fully online. And I knew coming in that we needed to work on our support services and our student services to match that. And then 3 weeks later, it was all of a sudden 100%.
Right, yeah.
So making that pivot was challenging, and we will always be grateful for the work that the ITS team and Dr. Ryan Schwiebert did for us, for all the work that our partners in academic support did to help us make that happen. But in a couple-week time period, we are doing everything online where we had not been able to do online appointments before. Now students are able to make online appointments. And so we're still seeing that as a very popular option for students 2 years later, even though now we're at the place of, if people prefer to come to campus, they can. If they want to do things online, they can. And we can truly give students choice about those things. And so I'm very glad about that tool in our toolbox. We hear just from our advisors and from other areas that those interactions are more comfortable. They're more comfortable for the student. They're more comfortable for them because everybody's in an environment that's familiar to them, that the conversation is richer, that they're able to have better connections with students through those things versus what maybe was just trying to be in line and be waiting to see the next person. Now that opportunity is richer, and it has more opportunity for connectivity, which is a place that we want to go now as we move totally out of the pandemic period into how do we keep those relationship-rich opportunities with students so we help them move to and through the institution.
Yeah, our college has been recognized in a couple of ways as one of, if not the best, online community college in the United States. But truth be told, online was primarily what we did in the classroom. And when COVID hit, we really had to pivot and
Yes.
rethink all our delivery services in a way that we're not
Yes.
so full of, not
Yeah.
offering the same opportunities
No,
online.
that's right. Yeah, and the first time we met, we talked about how to better serve online students. We just didn't know how important that conversation was going to become in a few weeks. So I think our team, partnering with the ITS team, have done an amazing job delivering on what we had to do in that period of time. And now when students can choose, we just keep that choice in front of them. And if they want to do mix and match, you may want to come talk to an advisor in person and do your financial aid online. But we've expanded our hours through online services. I think it has just made us better as a part of the college and a part of the organization.
Well, I know one thing that happened at that time, which is not new to the people here. I mean, it's such a caring environment, and the people of the Enrollment Student Services they're unbelievable carers. But one of the things you had to do at that time is outreach in a different, it was phenomenal, the calls. In fact, I still hear from students that just talk about just the touches that were made to just see, are you, how things are going, are you okay? And then also extending our support services, because students faced a lot of outside the classroom challenges at that time. And, using our Wake Tech term, we really personified rallying, but that's a lot of it, how we did it is influencing what we're doing as we moved out of COVID.
Yeah, that's right. We assembled a team of about 75 staff people to call every student that we had, and we made over 20,000 phone calls in a few-week period to say, how are you? What do you need? Do you have a laptop? You were in a seated class and now you're online. Do you have the resources you need? Do you know how to get to Blackboard? How can we help you? And I think that, like you, I still hear from students that talk about how meaningful that was at that moment that we were all becoming very disconnected from one another, and it made, I think, an important connection point, and it drove us to enhance the wraparound supports that the college was already offering. But how can we bring that together in a way that is clear for students, is clear for faculty and staff to know how to make referrals to, and how can we meet the needs that we're able to meet? Of course, we cannot do it all, but there are a whole lot of things that we can do, and we've had a lot of good fortune with the HERF grant funds that we've had to do emergency aid at a scale we never could have imagined. But the college already had a rally fund, and having those resources is not something every community college has. And we were fortunate to have it, to be able to scale it, and now to let that lead us to the formation of what we know as the Care Center.
Yeah. Well, and let's turn to that then. That terminology, care, you know, COVID, hopefully for all of us, is more in our rearview mirror, but the notion of care is certainly first and foremost with us. And part of the strategic plan at Wake Tech that you've led in these areas, the idea of care teams and a care center and a different way in which we do advising and support for students. It's not a difference in caring. We've always cared, but it's how we try to structure that
That's right.
care more.
That's right.
So can you transition, and because students will start to see this year very much, and particularly over the next couple of years as this evolves. So what does care advising mean, and what is a care center, and how does that all evolve?
Yeah. So there's a lot of good research work going on in our world in community colleges around the culture of care, and I think Wake Tech always had that at its heart, and I think now we are embedding it and embodying it throughout our system, throughout the way we structure around students. So you alluded to two things there that are really connected. One is the Care Center, and let me say this about CARE. That really is an acronym for Connections, Advising, Resources, and Engagement. And if people remember that, great. But if they don't, I think the word care says everything that we're trying to say, which is if you have a student that needs help and you don't know where else to send them or what else to do, send them to the Care Center. So we are establishing care centers. Our first will be at the Southern Wake campus that we're having the grand opening and ribbon cutting for next week with the Board of Trustees, and that's very exciting. And we're going to be carrying that notion of a care center out through other Wake Tech locations over the next few years, but that will be a central location for wraparound supports. So it will be a place if students, we have the Nest Food Pantry and our great partner Food Line that helps us with the Nest Food Pantry and also toiletries and other essentials. If students are having transportation issues, particularly, of course, as gas was going up, we were hearing from more students needing gas help, and we were able to partner with the Wake Tech Foundation and with Sheets to be able to offer gas cards for students. If students need what we refer to as wellness counseling or mental health counseling, the Care Center is the first spot to come to get that. And we will carry students as far as our capability and our licensures allow us to do, but then we also have community partnerships to make referrals if we need to do that as well. Students will be assigned a success coach, and in the last academic year we had over 7,000 first semester students assigned a success coach, and a success coach and advisors will be the heart of the care teams, and that's going to really restructure Wake Tech's advising model to carry students more all the way through from entry through graduation. And that hasn't necessarily been our model in the past, but we are excited to make that pivot. So as we go into this fall and spring, all of our new first semester students will have an academic advisor and a success coach assigned to them to stick with them all the way through the college life cycle and into graduation. So it's a very exciting change. It is a very daunting change at times too, because it is a big pivot in how we have wrapped our supports around students. But I think it's going to be one that students will feel and see. And I want to just absolutely thank our advisors and our advising leadership, our success coaches, and our care center leadership. They have done tremendous work over the last year building the foundational blocks for this. And we have a few of these care teams in pilot form now. And we're going to just kind of keep moving through the career field areas to put those care teams together over this upcoming academic year.
What I've said to you, I think the concept of care teams with advising is perhaps certainly as important as anything we're doing in our Reach and Rally strategic plan, but also may be our biggest lift. Because for a school that has 70,000 students, and we're doing more and more to try to make sure we're one college, degree and non-degree, and just the sheer volume and scale that we have. But if I paraphrase this, it's almost like we've always had, you use the term success coaches, but we've always had, you could always find a success doctor somewhere, but you didn't necessarily know who was your success doctor. I guess that's a big shift.
That's right. In the survey work that we did and that Dr. Melinda Karp did with us doing focus groups, what we heard overwhelmingly was when students got to a person, they got great service. And so what we want to do is to make that as easy as possible for students to know this is the person that I need to go to that can help me, or at least get me referred to the next place if they're not the person that can answer my question. I think the notion that I continue to sit with across the pandemic is one of being relationship rich, in that if students know who to talk to, if they have a person they can turn to, we can resolve a lot of issues. The students you worry about are those that fade out, that we don't know what may happen with them. And so I think a lot of the structure, and to your point, it's going to take us time to move an institution as large as Wake Tech in that model, and we're going to do that with some deliberate steps. I mean, we're not going to try to assign every student right now that's at Wake Tech, all 70,000, to an advisor. We'll do it kind of in cohorts as new students come in the door, but over about a 2 to 3 year period, then we will have those connections made and have students assigned to a care team. We'll have the care center model more fully built out. And I want to acknowledge, Wake Tech's had so many of these resources already, and very fortunate in that respect. The one thing that we've heard particularly from faculty is I don't know where to send students. And so send them, if you know the word care, you'll know the place to start. If we can get you there, then we can get you on the right pathway.
And it's quite a shift for Wake Tech being, the biggest of all colleges in North Carolina in terms of the number of students we touch, but to strive to be small in that sense, because caring and relationships it's not a scale thing. It's a small, it's trying to remain small while bringing the scale of big. And I think that's what you are very strategic in your pursuit. And I guess too, is this fair to say what'll be different that students see as it evolves? This is not happening overnight, but it starts, and it starts at Southern Campus, and it starts in certain areas, and it'll move over the next couple of years. But now, if you know you need something, you don't have to define what it is. You don't have to find it in a directory. You can go to a place, which is the care center. But also, if you need that advice, you need that support, you can go to a person who is your assigned person and essentially team that works with you. That's right. So that's different.
It is. And, we're being multimodal, if you will, on purpose, because we know students see and respond to different things. Some students will connect with a person. Some people are looking for those online resources, and we'll have an online version of the care center in addition to the physical locations at our campuses. But it will be a pivot for our teams. It is a change in our thought process, but it is one that we need to make. It's one that we need to make sure that students know where to go to get support, or just a place to start to ask the question. I have a question and I don't know where to start. Well, start at your care team or start at the care center and let it go from there. And that won't be the end-all be-all answer to everything, but it's at least the right place to start. It's the folks that don't raise their hand to ask the question that we worry about the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shift a little bit, because that's when students were with us. How do they get the supports they need without having to specifically define the exact support they need? But for a lot of what you do too is that enrollment aspect. And one of the big challenges for Wake Tech, when I talk to people in the community, is Wake Tech is so big, has more program offerings than any college in the state when you look at everything we do, and most any other college in the country, just in terms of the comprehensive scale of Wake Tech. And so one of the challenges for Wake Tech is how do you how do you tell potential students and families about what Wake Tech has to offer when it has so much to offer? And I know you and our communications team and others have been really doing some unique things to help students be able to narrow down and get some of those answers as they're looking at Wake Tech. Can you talk about some of those shifts?
Yeah, you know, right now, if you looked at our application for admission, we were giving students 295 lines of options of this is what I want to be my program of study or major.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, the first 5 or 6 lines were some of our most popular that were being selected because they were the first 5 or 6. And we know that needed to be better. And so thanks to your leadership and the leadership of a lot of other folks on our campus, we're moving to the notion of career fields and just trying to organize that work into, and people may hear career clusters, they may hear meta majors, and those things are all kind of similar, right? But for students, it's what do I think I want to do with my life? What do I want to do for my career? What do I want to dedicate myself to improve my opportunities? And so we will have 13 career fields that students can choose from. And then what we're hoping will work from an organizational standpoint is then we'll have the programs of study or majors underneath those that can help students. And each of those career fields will also have an option for explore. So if a student just really doesn't know, pick the career field that you think sounds like the thing you're most interested in and select the explore option. And then we will be able to have some outreach to say, let us talk to you more, let us answer your questions, let us connect with you early to answer those questions. And you may need a referral to our career services team. You may need an early referral to an advisor or a success coach to help define that for you so that we can, to the best of our ability, bring students to and through the institution as easily as possible. Because you're right. I mean, it is a very, our Wake Tech size is a blessing, and it can be that curse too, right? Of there are so many options, and there are so many doorways, and there are so many pathways through. How can we make sure students can navigate through those doors?
So, you know, what you're saying is when you previously doing the Wake Tech application, you'd find close to 300 options to pick what is you because we have literally that and
That's
more.
right.
But now it'll be more 13 areas, which are more like affinity career areas.
That's right.
I'm saying it doesn't have to be, you know, so many students like me, I came into college as a journalism major because that's what I did in high school. I thought this is what I'm going to do, and I changed. So it doesn't mean you're picking for
That's
your
right.
life. It just means where you're picking for your start.
That's right.
But there's a lot of exploration within those areas.
That's right. So, and you have in a lot of settings we've been in together used the example of healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most popular career fields in Wake County, in North Carolina, in the United States. And so most students know about nursing, right? I mean, that is always a very popular choice.
And we have the biggest and best nursing program in the region, so we got to point that out.
Dr. Angela Ballantyne, great job out of you. I think, though, that we have so many other options that students may not know about or may not be aware of what type of work it does. Because the reality is we have more students that express interest in nursing than we have seats to be able to put them in. But we have lots of options for healthcare to then be able to do what you've talked about as career ladders. Start here, and then if you want to look at another opportunity to go back to nursing, well, we're bringing on an LPN program, a licensed practical nursing program that can be a pathway then to a bridge to an RN, that can be a pathway to one of our university partners with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So there are those laddering opportunities, and that is a very common one that we hear, but we have those laddering opportunities throughout those 13 career fields that will be available to students. So we're going to keep working over the next year or two to see how can we help bring students more easily into the institution, front load that career information, help them make the best informed decision that they can, and acknowledging it's not forever. You may learn more as you go into a class to say, that really sounds interesting as you work with other faculty in other areas. So we will work at it. We're probably not done. We'll keep refining this model. We'll keep making tweaks as we get more feedback and as we go out at scale with the fall 23 application and bringing students into the institution in that career field model.
And students and their families will start to see that on our webpage, and we also have view books.
That's
I mean,
right.
It's kind of the technology allows to, you pick the area, but then you can kind of drill down as
That's
you
right.
gain more information.
That's
and
right.
Move forward.
And we know, unquestionably, some students know, I absolutely want to go into X. I know I
That's
want to
right,
be
yeah.
in welding. I know I want to be in radiography. And so we don't want to make that option more difficult. So that's why we're going a layer deeper as well with not only the 13 career fields, but here are the major programs under that area. Or if you just don't know, pick Explore and let's talk with you more and get you more
Yeah.
information. So we're, at 70,000 students, there are lots of needs, lots of levels of preparation. We get students who are just like myself, first in their family to go to college. We have students who come in with a bachelor's or a master's who are coming back for
Yeah.
retooling. The needs are very different. And so trying to adjust and meet those needs at different levels of what students need.
Well, and segueing there too, you mentioned that sometimes a greater challenge for a student who's first in family to go, or maybe has a parent who works 2 or 3 jobs. Some students have parents who kind of help direct them or seek out information for them, and then others have to do it on their own. And one of the things I know you're very attuned to, and we're very attuned to, it's a part of our reach and rally, is so regardless of where students live, regardless of their circumstances, we're going to find ways to reach you so you can have those opportunities. Can you talk about some of those reaching strategies? I know we're working more with our high schools in different ways and what's happening in that aspect.
Just a lot of exciting, good work going on. And I really want to acknowledge and shout out Anthony Garnes, who's doing amazing work in some of our high schools that are designated by the state as what's called Title I high schools, and that all that points to is certain data points.
Yeah.
But I think the work that Anthony is doing in places, he's working with Knightdale High School, East Wake High School, and a couple others, and what we're seeing there as he has taken on the role of college and career access coach, and so trying to think about access to the college in a different way. And we are seeing really good things happening where he has taken financial aid workshops to the high schools and worked through the counselors, the CDCs, the student services deans at those high schools to deliver programming in a way that we may not have delivered it before the pandemic. And we are seeing really good results, not only for students attending Wake Tech, but having opportunities at other institutions, and I'm okay with that. I feel good about the work that Anthony's doing to help students change their opportunities for themselves and their families. So there's a lot of good work going on there. We're doing a lot of really interesting things with Wake County, with some of the data that Wake County has available around economic health index in Wake County, and so that's allowing us to do some targeted outreach to what may be classified as like a low economic health zone in Wake County. For the student, I don't know that any of that's important. For us, what it says is we know where we need to put some special attention, and it just allows us, because we don't have every human resource in the
Right.
world. And so those kinds of targeting tools let us say, we know we need to put special attention here, and then direct the resources that we do have towards those areas.
Well, and speaking of that, one thing that your team led with a lot of our first year orientation and other folks, just great folks involved, was the Eagle Start Summer Bridge program.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that celebration at the Chavis Center was one of my favorite, not just days of the summer, but days of the year, to hear those students and some of the parents who talked to me about just how meaningful that was. And that's an effort to reach students who may not have had some of the same opportunities, who may have struggled some in high school for whatever reason, but to give them a chance to start just where everyone else is and thrive just like everyone else. Now, that's a program we want to see just keep growing. But that was a phenomenal work this summer. Talk a little bit about Eagle Start.
I think I'm like you. That was one of the most heartwarming days I've had the opportunity to be a part of in a while, and just a huge thanks to Dave Cooper and Tanya Green and Will Kinsey and Laura Bethay, and I will miss people when you start naming names.
Yeah.
All the people who put time and effort into that, our faculty and our ILC staff that work with those students. We had about 70 students participate this year. They did a 6-week intensive boot camp style, with the goal of helping to raise them up to what we call co-requisite level in math, English, and complete an ACA study skills class. So in 6 weeks, we condensed 9 credit hours of study into 6 weeks. Tuition was covered. We provided laptops for students, and we had 60 of those 70 complete and are registered for the fall. So I think that's a really exciting thing, and you and I both had a chance to be there for their completion ceremony and hear the stories from people that said, I didn't think college was for me. I didn't think I could do this, and this program has ignited a fire in me. And so that's just so encouraging to hear.
Yeah. And if that was my favorite day, my second favorite was walking around. We had visitors actually from the White House with us for one day, and we were talking about a lot of workforce and other types of great efforts here at Wake Tech, but we had a chance for just 15 minutes to stick our heads in. I think it was Queen Lane's classroom, right. And they were, that was probably the most alive 15 minutes. And of all the things they saw, I doubt there's anything that they had a bigger impact on them was that 15 minutes.
You could just hear and see the passion in the work that Queen does and our other ACA instructors working to just draw the best out of students. And so we are very happy with how Eagle Start Summer Bridge has come together, and we'll take a deep breath, look at our data, and then get ready for next year and see how we make it better and how we can serve more of Wake County with that program.
Well, let's carry that start. Just a couple more questions before we wrap up here, but one of those is, for one thing that's unique here for Wake Tech and for community colleges in North Carolina, you can start early. Career and College Promise, and in Wake County, those opportunities haven't been quite as much out there as in other counties. It's not uncommon for a community our size and a college that had so many students coming. But there's been a really renewed effort, both with us and our great partners at Wake County Public Schools, and we've seen more people take advantage of that opportunity to be able to take free courses that transfer to Wake Tech, but also transfer to our universities while in high school. And that's been a great effort on your team's part.
We looking at the enrollment numbers this morning, we're just under 3,000 dually enrolled high school students, or CCP students as they're known in the state, for the Career and College Promise program. I think that is a tremendous opportunity, one that I did not have as a high school student. It is a great introduction to what college is all about. It is a way to get a leg up for those that are ready to do that. It is a way for students who aren't sure to see, hey, I can do this. So I think Elvin James is our CCP director for our high schools here. Terry Allen over our cooperative innovative high schools. They and their teams are doing amazing jobs expanding that outreach and making that opportunity more available and as you say, with our Wake County partners who we could not do that without. But we know there's more work to do, and we know that there are high schools that we aren't serving as many as we'd like, and we know that there are students who often get left behind in systems and in places that we haven't reached yet. So we feel really good about where we are. We know there's more work ahead.
Yeah, that's where the real challenge with Career and College Promise is, that as people become aware of that opportunity, they're taking advantage of that opportunity, but too many families aren't aware of the opportunity.
That's right.
And we have to figure out how to overcome that challenge that they have.
Yeah, that's right. And we're very thankful for Crystal Reardon at the Wake County Public School System and all of the counselors and CDCs. They do great work for us and on our behalf and as our partners in that work. But how do we reach more? And how do we reach the people that we're missing that probably need that opportunity, who are like me, who are first generation, or who may be from a lower income family that we're just not being able to get that information to, but who would stand to benefit the most if they could take advantage of the opportunity. So we're going to keep working on that.
Yeah. So last thing, so this is Welcome Week.
Yeah.
And our listeners can't necessarily see what's happening, but there's a lot of new things happening. It's new for us to be able to actually have a Welcome Week that's more normal. We haven't really had in the last couple of years, that advantage, and what they'll see this year. So even, just using examples, we're sitting in what we now call Eagle Landing, our totally renovated student lounge area here on Southern Campus. We have behind us Brunchology 101, the new food service here. We're in the building where the Care Center grand opening is taking place. There are lots of things that students will find here that a couple of years ago was challenged. Last year was challenging. So can you kind of say what's happening at Wake Tech right now that's exciting and new on our campuses as we gear up for 2022, 2023?
We've got a long list of opportunities that we've just called Welcome Weeks 2022, and you're absolutely right. For my first time here as a part of the Wake Tech family, to be able to offer those kinds of things at any kind of scale on this side of the pandemic is really exciting. And so we have engaged with our partners all across campus, with your office, with academic supports, with student services, to be able to just offer a whole list of resource fairs, open houses, pizza with the prez for folks that are looking for a meal. Dr. Rawls is going to be handing out all kinds of different food at different campuses, so come find him and say hello to us, because we really are excited. Our Wake Tech Eagle athletic programs are getting started. We've got volleyball games on campus, soccer matches at fields nearby our campuses, just a whole lot of life on campus.
Student government's really been cranking up.
SGA's had their launch. Our ambassadors are about to have their launch. And so there's just a whole lot of that traditional student life that's happening on campus. And it having been almost 2 years with little to none of it, it's really exciting to see that energy coming back to campus.
Well, it's great. Everybody get on campus, take advantage of the resources, the opportunities there. The one thing that's a little challenging for me is my exercise diet routine was a little better for the summer than it is during the year, but wasn't as good as it should have been. And now we've got pizza and donuts, so I'm really going to have to crank it up here in October and September.
You can have pizza and 5K with the president to follow, right?
Well, we do have 5Ks.
That's right.
That's and we didn't even talk about that today. Our Foster Youth program, where we have a great race that will come up in the spring on our northern campus. So, but we'll hit those, and we'll certainly talk about Fostering Bright Futures and all those efforts. But I want to thank our guest today, Brian Gann. He is, we talk about rallying, and Brian is a rally leader here at Wake Tech. He cares about every one of our students. His team is remarkable, and they mean so much to the students here. And because you mean so much to them, you mean so much to me and all the people in our community who are so supportive of Wake Tech because of the impact that we have. And so I want to thank you, your team, for the impact that you're having every day on our students. I look out the window here and I see some of these great new students that we're seeing. We're blessed to be able to be at a place like Wake Tech, and Wake Tech's blessed to have you, Brian Gann. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Our podcast can be found wherever you search for podcasts, Apple, Spotify. But subscribe to We Are Wake Tech, rate We Are Wake Tech, and listen to We Are Wake Tech as we have a new episode every month where you can find out about all the wonderful things and wonderful people of Wake Tech.
Hi, I'm Lori Clowers with a news update for August. The new academic year is underway with more than 22,000 students starting classes in degree programs. It's expected to be the largest fall enrollment in 3 years. The incoming class includes more than 3,000 2022 high school graduates, most of whom are taking advantage of free tuition. Students on campus are being welcomed with new programs, new amenities, new facilities, and fresh, new accessible walkways. The new Care Center opened on Southern Wake campus. The Care Center offers guidance and coaching and assistance with laptops, food, transportation, wellness, and finances. Care Centers also operate on the Scott Northern Wake campus, the RTP campus, and coming soon to Perry Health Sciences campus. 22 highly qualified dental assistants are supporting local dentists in our area. The dental assistants graduated in July and celebrated with a special luncheon at the Perry Health Sciences campus. The demand for dental assistants is expected to grow by 11% over the next 8 years. Representatives from the White House Office of Management and Budget came to the Scott Northern Wake campus for a special tour and to learn about Wake Tech's key role in workforce development. The guests toured welding, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical labs, as well as the new Hendrick Center for Automotive Excellence. They were also treated to a lunch buffet, courtesy of Wake Tech's Baking and Pastry Arts program. Wake County High School students came to Wake Tech's Public Safety Education campus to learn about careers in law enforcement, fire services, EMS, and criminal justice. And it was a huge day on the RTP campus recently as the new Wake Early College of Information and Biotechnologies welcomed its inaugural class in the Lilly Science and Technology Center. The new Early College offers the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school. And that's the latest news from Wake Tech as we start a new academic year.
Hi, I'm Ashley Popio, and I'm here from Wake Tech's ILC, which is the Individualized Learning Center, to give you some tips on how to study well here at Wake Tech. My first tip for success here at Wake Tech is don't let the appearance of success prevent you from actually succeeding. Some students struggle so hard to make it look like they're doing okay in their classes to their peers and their teachers and their parents and their friends, that instead of actually fixing things that are holding them back or revealing the fact that they're failing or struggling, they just try to power through. Don't try and power through. If things are going wrong for you, tell someone you trust and let them help you. My second tip is that as soon as you arrive at Wake Tech and have access to your schedules and your syllabi on Blackboard, make a calendar that contains every single assignment that you have and build a schedule for yourself that doesn't just tell you when things are due, but also when you should study for things and when you should work on projects. For example, if you have a paper that's due on Friday, instead of just adding to your calendar paper Friday, add on Monday, create rough draft. On Tuesday, revise rough draft. On Wednesday, go to tutoring at the ILC and have a professional look at my rough draft. And then the next day, revise that, and on the final day, polish it and turn it in. Add that all to your calendar so you know when to expect things and when to schedule them. My third tip for how to succeed here at Wake Tech is to familiarize yourself with all of Wake Tech's resources and actually take advantage of them. Wake Tech has the capacity to help you with a myriad of things, including food insecurity or transportation difficulties, child care grants. If there are any problems, either personal or financial, that are preventing you from being the best student that you can be, don't just suffer in silence. Don't try to handle it on your own. Don't wait and hope. Do a Google search, figure out what resources Wake Tech has to assist you, and then take advantage of those resources. My next advice is that you should make your study material your own. Internalize the information that you learn through your classes by putting it in your own words or filtering it through your own thoughts and your own brain and making it your own material. Only then will you really remember and understand it. Let me give you an example. If a professor is just speaking in class and you're trying to remember and understand that information, instead of just writing down exactly what the professor says, put it in your own words. Once it's filtered through your own brain, you'll understand it better. You can also draw pictures to help you understand things, or create art, or make songs. Anything that's creative, anything that cements things in your own brain by putting it through your own thought filter, that will help you internalize that information and then remember it when the time comes. Finally, I would suggest that you identify your areas of weaknesses and then work to improve them instead of ignoring them or hoping that those areas of weaknesses don't matter. If you struggle a little bit with math and you think that it's not going to be a big deal, and after your first math class you think, I really struggled in that first math class, I'm still struggling with math, then instead of pretending that that problem will just go away, confront it. Make appointments with us at the ILC with math tutors to actually identify your areas of weakness and help you come up with a plan to solve those problems. Therefore, when you go into your more advanced math classes, you'll be prepared and ready to tackle them head on and not have any of the stress and overwhelming feeling of worrying that you can't handle it, because you'll know that you can. If necessary, it's okay to slow down the rate of progress that you had originally planned for yourself and take fewer classes per semester, as long as it means that you're successful in those classes and that you feel confident about that material. If you have any problems or questions, don't go it alone. Come and see us at the Individualized Learning Center here at the ILC. We have places everywhere on campus, and you can also contact us online for an online appointment if that's more convenient for you.
Thank you for listening to the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Join us next month for more insightful conversations about the programs and people of Wake Tech and how the college changes lives every day. Be sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast app to have each episode delivered right to your computer or mobile device. For more, find us at podcast.waketech.edu. To learn more about Wake Tech's exceptional educational opportunities, visit waketech.edu.